Here.
Alderman Taylor,
Present.
Alderwoman Bibbs,
Here.
Alderman Hartman,
Here.
Alderman Runyon,
Present.
Alderman Maloney,
Here.
Alderman Rousey.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The next item is Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand for the pledge and remain standing for a moment of silent prayer for our men and women in harm's way, as well as our public safety members. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very, very much. You may be seated. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Maloney.
make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda as printed and presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So tonight's agenda has been approved. Is there a motion for the approval of the regular session minutes from November the 14th?
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I move that we approve the minutes for the regular session, November 14, 2023.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Runyon.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So the regular session minutes from November the 14th, 2023 have been approved. The next item is the appointment to the Parks and Rec Commission. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Maloney.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve or appoint Damon Randolph to fill a vacant term that expires on April 30th, 2028 to the Parks and Rec Commission.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I second.
That's been moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So we will make that appointment, and Damon will get a chance to be with Becky to be sworn in. The next area is public comment. Anyone who would like to address the Board of Aldermen, please step up to the mic, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes. And once you finish, do sign in with Becky Schimmel at the city clerk. The time is 7:02. I declare public comment open. And now it's 7:03. I declare public comment closed. There are no public hearings. Is there a motion for consent items C through D?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Maloney.
make a motion that we approve consent items C through E as printed and presented.
No, C through the D.
C through D, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So consent items C through D have been approved. Is there a motion for consent item E?
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Maloney.
All right, here. I'd like to make a motion that we hereby notify of a closed session to be called by the mayor as a special regular session to be held on Tuesday, November 28, 2023, immediately following the regular session at 7 p.m. at City Hall, 1200 Main. The closed session will be called for Tuesday, November 28, 2023, in the mayor's conference room immediately following the regular session. The closed session will have closed record and be scheduled for the purpose of discussing the specific items noted below for which there may be a vote. Item number 5, preparation including any discussion or work product on behalf of a public governmental body and its representatives for negotiations with employee groups.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Runyon.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Maloney,
Aye.
Alderman Runyon,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs,
Aye.
Alderman Rousey,
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Nay.
Thank you. The next item is ordinances. Is there a motion for bill number 7740?
Mayor,
Alderman Taylor.
I move that consent item
No.
Bill number 7740 be placed in its first reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I'll second the motion.
Bill number 7740, an ordinance enacting Section 1 of Article 2 of Chapter 16 of the Code of Laws of Grandview, Missouri, titled Floodplain Management and establishing an effective date.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Rousey,
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs,
Aye.
Alderman Runyon,
Aye.
Alderman Hartman,
Aye.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye. Motion for second reading.
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I move that we put Bill 7740 on the second reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Maloney.
Second.
Bill number 7740, an ordinance enacting Section 1 of Article 2 of Chapter 16 of the Code of Laws of Grandview, Missouri, titled Floodplain Management and establishing an effective date.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Mayor, I have one.
Alderman Runyon.
Will we be able to have a map that shows these floodplains?
I'm pretty sure we do, but let's confirm with the city's public works director.
Doug Wessler-Schmidt, Public Works Director. We would have our current maps. This flood study does not change any of the maps. It's just a study that was conducted after the maps were published, so our ordinance needs to make reference to the study. And the study has no effect of anything in
Okay.
the city of Grandview. So bottom line, our maps are the same.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion for final passage.
Mayor,
Alderman Taylor.
I move that bill number 7740 be placed in its final passage and said bill be enacted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor.
Alderman Hartman.
I'll second that.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Hartman,
Aye.
Alderman Rousey,
Aye.
Alderman Maloney,
Aye.
Alderman Runyon,
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Ordinance number 7480.
So bill number 7740 has passed. It's now ordinance 7480. Is there a motion on bill number 7741?
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Maloney.
Move that bill number 7741 be placed on its first reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I'll second the motion.
Bill number 7741, an ordinance authorizing the execution of an agreement with the U.S. Geological Survey for the operation and maintenance of the stream gauge on the Little Blue River and authorizing payment.
And Doug, why don't you give us a quick update on this one?
I think there was some concern following the 2017 flood that occurred, primarily on the Little Blue River as it goes through Grandview, about getting more information, more data in order to try to do some storm prediction and flood prediction. And so the city had worked with the USGS on installing a stream gauge at the Meriwether Bridge as it goes over the Little Blue, and then two weather data collection, temperature, rainfall amounts. So those were installed in 2019. There was some grant funding, some shared costs for the initial installation of that, and then what we have before us is the annual maintenance or annual costs for the city to keep these rain gauges and stream gauges where they're at.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion?
Doug?
Alderman Rousey.
Sorry. What is the cost for us to maintain it?
Well, it's $28,940. We don't maintain it. We pay the USGS to
Maintain it for us?
maintain it. I mean, it's not just a maintenance cost. It's kind of a capital buy down and maintenance cost. So.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Alderman Runyon.
The location of these, Eagles Landing, which is out
Yeah,
south of 155th, I think it's about 160th.
Yeah.
And then Shalimar, what's the purpose of those?
The, both of those are rainfall collection gauges. I think they pick up some wind speed, some temperature gauges. So yeah, the one is in Shalimar, and then one is technically it's outside of the city, but the thought at that time was
Yeah,
that
it's on the south side of the
Right.
British.
there was a need to collect rainfall data upstream of Grandview, and the next one was to collect rainfall data within the city of Grandview on
Yeah,
two
but
different spots within the Little
There's
Blue.
a lot of concrete parking lots between here and there. You know, that could increase the flow.
Correct. And you know, what that data would do in working with some agencies are a lot smarter in hydraulics and hydrology than me, would be to collect that data, you know, compare it to the effects that they see in the stream gauge at the Meriwether Bridge, and again, use that to predict the effect of that. Or the more valuable use would be if we're getting a 1 inch per rain at the upstream rain gauge, how soon would we see a certain rise at the stream gauge at the Meriwether Bridge? So we could take action if necessary.
Oh,
You know, in other words,
Thank you.
set up barricades, close streets. Worst case scenario, evacuate our residents in that area.
And we did have flooding there at Marywood, you know, a couple of times, and it was, now it's good to have some eyes on what's going on before it truly happens.
I don't
So-
think there's been any flooding since I've been here.
No, yeah, yep. It has been good, however,
I've had nothing
we've had
to
some
do with
tough
that,
times.
but I've been lucky so far.
Appreciate it. Further discussion?
Mayor,
Alderman Taylor.
Doug, will we be adding any more gauges downstream before it gets to Longview Lake? Or have they talked about it?
We're currently, there is no plan for that, but we are currently working with the Army Corps of Engineers. They're doing a study on the, well, pretty much the full length of the Little Blue River, all the way from where it enters the Missouri River, all the way upstream, just upstream of Grandview, and to just see what improvements can be done there. But I don't believe there's any plans for adding any more gauges in that area. So there's, you know, we also have a gauge at the Public Works facility.
Okay, yeah.
Matter of fact, it's linked to our website, so our residents can look at that one. And these gauges are, they're on a public website too, so.
Oh, okay.
If one wanted to view those, they're out there.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Alderman Rousey.
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Alderman Runyon.
Aye.
Alderman Taylor.
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Aye.
Motion for second reading.
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I move that bill number 7741 be placed on its second reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Hartman.
I'll second that.
Bill number 7741, an ordinance authorizing the execution of an agreement with the U.S. Geological Survey for the operation and maintenance of the stream gauge on the Little Blue River and authorizing payment.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion for final passage.
Mayor,
Alderman Taylor.
I move that bill number 7741 be placed in its final passage and said bill be enacted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I second.
Alderman Taylor.
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Aye.
Alderman Rousey.
Aye.
Alderman Runyon.
Aye.
Ordinance number 7481.
So bill number 7741 has passed. It's now ordinance 7481. Thank you, Doug. Is there a motion for bill number 7742?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I move that we put bill number 7742 on its first reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Hartman.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Bill number 7742, an ordinance authorizing payment to Enterprise Fleet Management for vehicle purchases in fiscal year 2024.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Alderman Taylor.
Didn't we just purchase some vehicles, and who are these vehicles going to? If we purchase new vehicles,
So we are purchasing 4 vehicles. This is through the Enterprise program. We did recently purchase some police package vehicles for patrol. These are going to be for investigations, 2 of them, and then 2 of them are going to go to community development. We have the Enterprise lease program with some of the city's fleet. Currently, I have 16 vehicles in there. The 2 of the community developments are to be turned over. So we'll sell those and then purchase the new ones. And then the 2 police investigations are just new additions to the Enterprise program to replace older vehicles that are out of work. And then also we are getting in line for the order banks so that we can place the orders as soon as they open. The dealers, or I'm sorry, manufacturers only are making so many vehicles because of the economic impacts of shortages. And so we want to be able to be one of the first people in line. And by you guys approving this tonight, we can sign our agreements before the banks open so that we can place our orders immediately.
okay.
Further discussion?
Mayor,
Alderman Runyon.
have we checked these prices against the state contract where we can do it?
Yes, sir. These are actually purchased through the state contract. So we are able to secure the lower pricing. And this is the reason that we were able to actually earn a profit on the 2 vehicles that we actually did turn over so far with the Enterprise program.
So I checked online, and some of the Traverse you can get for like 35, 36,000.
So there are certain upgrades that Enterprise recommends that we do that aren't on the basic models because we'll be able to get more for the vehicle on the back end when we sell it.
Do we need all that?
I do think that we do need it. The Enterprise has shown through the 2 vehicles that we did go through the entire process so far that their advisements of upgrades are actually beneficial to Grandview. We made $6,000 on each vehicle that we sold so far through their program. I don't think that's going to be the case on every single vehicle that we turn over, but his recommendations did actually turn out to be beneficial.
And Alderman Runyon's, to add to the enterprise program, what we're doing is we're only utilizing these vehicles for a year. Market is still at prime. When we put these vehicles on the market, private industry, along with the consumers, going after these vehicles, and we sell them a lot more than what we paid for. The other component of this is departments do have requirements. For you to be able to put a rifle rack, that vehicle needs to be prepared, and some of those things are desires of the departments so that they could do their jobs.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Alderman Taylor and then Alderman Hartman.
Yes, these are vehicles that we're turning over, the police vehicles. Are we demodding them before we sell them?
Yes, sir.
Because they are extremely heavy and they got some stuff on it that we don't.
We do demod some of the things and transfer it over to the new vehicles that we're purchasing if we're able to. Unfortunately, manufacturers such as Ford change it slightly each year to year so that you have to buy a new equipment to go into it. But we do reuse it when we're able to, and things that are not safe for consumer level, we do remove from the vehicle and dispose of separately.
Outstanding, outstanding.
Alderman Hartman?
Just a comment. Didn't we get 3 or 4 cars delivered today, I think, wasn't it?
Today?
I thought I saw
That did
them.
not catch my attention. My window looks at the other
I don't want
direction.
to put you on the spot.
That's right. But that could very well be. That could very well be.
Not that I'm aware of, not through the Enterprise program.
Okay, they were on a trailer truck on 13th Street, parked right across from City Hall. I don't know if anybody else seen them or not, but they looked like police cars.
Do you remember what type of vehicles they were? Were they Traverses, Explorers?
I think I got
It must have been PD. And down in the locker room, somebody was saying they just got a new vehicle. Now that I think about it,
It must be their patrol
It was
vehicles that were supposed
police.
to be coming in.
Yeah, I think they were police.
Yeah.
Those are not through the Enterprise program. Those are just through our normal acquisition that we've done for years.
Okay, so those were ordered sometime before.
Yeah, we're still comparing the market, which way or form of purchasing or acquiring these vehicles. And so far, Enterprise delivered on their promises.
Yeah.
But market has been really interesting lately.
Well,
Really
I
interesting
can
lately.
tell you this, that many of the cities are are now really getting involved and getting, a part of the enterprise program because they have realized they've been shut out.
Yes.
And being shut out is not a very good position for them to be in. So they are starting to rethink that process. I'm glad that we were ahead of the curve, and now we can say we are, grandfathered in, if you will. So that's helpful. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Rousey.
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Aye.
Alderman Runyon.
Aye.
Alderman Taylor.
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Motion for second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Maloney.
move that bill number 7742 be placed on its second reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I'll second the motion.
Bill number 7742, an ordinance authorizing payment to Enterprise Fleet Management for the vehicle purchases in fiscal year 2024.
Any further discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Alderman Taylor.
I forgot, how many vehicles are you going to purchase?
I'm only purchasing 4 vehicles at this time, 2 for community development and 2 for police investigations.
Okay.
And Alderman Taylor, this is just authorization. We're going to place the order. We'll pay them if and when we get it. Sometimes it takes a while.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion for final passage.
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I move that bill number 7742 be placed on its final passage and said bill be enacted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Hartman.
second that.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Aye.
Alderman Taylor.
Aye.
Alderman Rousey.
Aye.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Alderman Runyon.
Aye.
Ordinance number 7482.
So bill number 7742 has passed. It's now ordinance 7482. And thank you, Holly. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
The next item is other business. So let's start with Alderman Maloney. Other business.
None.
Alderwoman Bibbs. Alderman Hartman.
I got a couple things. The first one, I got approached by a couple of residents in the last couple of weeks on the fire department charges when they go to a house and have to help someone get up, get back in a seat, or maybe their sugar level is low, so they do something to help that person, but they don't transport that person, but they still get a bill. Chief, maybe you can enlighten us on this. And then when they were talking to me about that, I do remember before I was on the board, I was at Armacost and I kind of fainted. I was dehydrated or something. So I got sit down in a chair and someone called the fire department, come over. They did some vitals on me and left. And then I got a bill for $250 or $280, something like that. So do you want to, and what I'm getting at is, I think we need to discuss that policy or how it got in place, and if we can change that, maybe to help these people on minor things like that without getting charged. But if we transport them, I can kind of see that. But I did check with Lee Summit. I've got a grandson that works over there, and he says they don't do any charges like that when they go to a house to help people like that. So go ahead and explain that policy.
There are different levels of billing that we do. Right now, the way we bill currently is all done by city ordinance. So anytime that we go out and we do do treatment or we pull out ALS required equipment, then that goes to the lowest level of billing, and even if we don't transport, but that's done by ordinance.
Well, that's what I want to get that out so the board can think about that. Maybe we can change that ordinance. I just think our residents deserve more than being charged for, you get the elderly people that don't have anybody in the house and their wife slips and falls or something. They have no one to call. In this instance, he called me, and I went over to help, and he was the one. And I said, well, he said, why didn't you call the fire department or some help? And I said, I'm available any time. Don't get me wrong. But he said they charge every time they come out here, for that. So I think as a board, we ought to review that policy, and if we can, to help our residents out. And like I said, Lee Summit does not charge for that service, but if they transport them to a hospital or a medical center, that may be different. But
We can put that on a work session.
yeah,
Another point
let's
in
talk
time.
about that.
Okay.
Yep. I was gonna suggest that, Mayor.
Absolutely.
One thing to keep in mind that every time that happens where ambulance goes out and deploys and takes our residents to the hospital, our recoup rate, meaning that what we get paid through the insurance as well as Medicare, Medicaid, and private pay, is around 40% at best. So regardless of what we do, we're getting paid. Like let's say the round trip is $1,000, city only gets $400. So this is a subsidized service. Keep that in mind. And we can look at those hospital visits. I'm pretty sure software is sophisticated enough to pull out a report to see what that cost is going to be further. But also,
Well-
I wanted to warn you guys that we're not getting what it's costing us in return regardless.
Well, if we could just pull those policies out,
You got it.
previous policies, like you say, the
Sure.
mayor said at work
We can
session.
definitely look at that.
We'll talk about that, and maybe we can do something. The second thing was, you sent us a message, Jamal, on the news station, was going to interview the police department on the shooting range. They had some complaints on that.
There was one complaint, yeah.
Well, are they going to do a story on that, or?
I don't know. That was my way of keeping you guys in the loop. So they came, they interviewed one of our officers, and we don't know if, and we don't know when. This is up to them. So they got information with regards to what safety implementations, what sound implementations we did, and how many rounds of improvements we have done. And what I was told is that they received a call or maybe two about this, but they weren't even quite sure that if they're going to do a story or not.
Okay.
It's just more like a follow-up.
Okay. Well, over the course of when that shooting range is open till now, I've had several calls. Of course, I know a lot of those people out there. So I think that needs to be discussed also. You know, I think if we have very few customers or very few people out there that it bothers, I think we need to address the situation one way or the other. You know, and I think we've tried to put a kind of a Band-Aid on it and tried to do the things we thought would quiet that range down, and it hasn't. So those people out there are just as important as somebody on the other side of the highway. So I think we need to consider about really looking at that. And it's been, when did it open, Jamal? 2019 or 20, wasn't it?
It was
I can
pre-COVID.
still hear it. I
And
can
we
still
used
hear
to,
it in my
well,
house.
we used to have several people's up here. You remember that?
That's right.
You know, when it first opened. And the problem is still there. Now, whether that problem comes from the contractors that we contract out when they shoot or our people shoot, you know, I think we need to bring that to the table and talk about that again.
Okay.
And
we can easily do that.
yeah, and on that same note, if you remember, I suggested that the board and the mayor would meet out at Greg Melchior's house when they were doing the heavy shooting, and that never happened. Now, whether we don't get notified when the contractor comes out and shoots, I don't know. But I've asked twice about that, just so we all are on the same page. Me and Debbie went out there, I think, a couple of years ago, and sat on his porch, and it was horrendous, okay? So my idea was if the whole board, the mayor, and Greg's been up here, he asked us all to come out there, and it never did happen. So I think we need to set up a time when that heavy shooting is going on, go out there as a group and listen to it, and then have our debate on what we think we should do. But I'm guaranteeing you, if you live there or somebody else lived there other than Greg, you know, you're going to have the same concerns that he does. And not only Greg, but you got Alan Hanks down the road. You got Nancy Ward down Robinson Pike. We have several people in that area, a mixed area of residents and commercial use. So
Thank you. Appreciate it, and we'll look at that as well. Alderman Rousey
I have nothing.
and Alderman Taylor.
Yes, I don't know if this is the right time, but we failed that sanitary sewer ordinance last meeting, and I'm still getting phone calls from some people that live on 130th Street that had some work done, and it extended past their property line. Now, Mayor, you think we should talk about that in a work session, or is this the right time?
We definitely, and then Doug can look at that as well, so we'd be prepared.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you know the address, please forward it to me
Yeah.
so that we know exactly where we're talking about.
Yeah, I have
We're
all
doing
three.
many improvements at the moment.
Yeah, I have all three addresses, and the houses were all side by side, three homes. And it seems like to me it really wasn't the houses, it was the sanitary, but they had to pay for all of it. And that didn't make sense to me, but we could talk about it at the,
Yep.
at-
If you could share that addresses.
Yes, sir,
We'll dig into the work orders. And
Yes, sir, I'll do
what is
that.
about and
Yes.
the reasoning.
And also, since he brought up that firing range, we had some interesting things at Whiteman with the same problem. They had the firing range close to the housing, and what they did was, I mean, of course, we're going to discuss it anyway. They used these highway barriers, soundproof barriers. That's what those are for, and they built them up higher, and it did a really good job. So we can probably look at the prices of those, and because, like I said, we all gonna get together anyway. But that's something to look into. The prices of those walls on the highway; those are sound barriers, what they are. But that's just something we can discuss later.
Yeah. Alderman Runyon.
On the gun range, yeah, anytime I go out in my backyard to shoot, on my deck, I can hear them. And I can't imagine what it's like being right across the street. But it's very prominent, especially when the hunting well, but on the weekends, when it's open, you can hear the shooting. It's just not good for a lot of people that have to deal with it. And the other thing is, we need an update on all these dangerous buildings we've got. I mean, there's nothing, I don't know, I haven't been down Robinson Pike this week, but it was still there last week, but we've got one over on, I think it's Parker, and they're all over the city. But we need to bring these to a head because it doesn't help the city. If we want to be a clean city, we got to clean it up first.
Yep. So we have a lot of momentum on those ends, but our city attorney can walk you through.
Yes. Alderman, yesterday, the Director of Community Development and I met to discuss the scheduling. We intend to have 2 dangerous building hearings in January. I'm sorry, I don't know the date offhand, but it's towards
January 9th.
towards the beginning of the month. We're scheduling 2 hearings on that date. The property on Robinson Pike, I know, has been a problem forever. I can report that there has been more movement in terms of removing things from that property in the last month than has happened in the last 2 decades. 2 buses, a truck. We abated, I believe, 3 vehicles yesterday. There have been several meetings with the owner as well. We are working on it. At the same time, I have begun drafting the lawsuit if we're not able to get things sorted out there to file for a permanent injunction with circuit court. However, we're working with the owner at this point in time, and there has been a lot of positive movement in the last few weeks about getting things off the property.
Alderman Runyon's, you time to time bring this up, and we discuss it in our bi-monthly meetings too. This particular property, they hired a third party to move stuff out. What he was doing is that he was trying to do it with his own equipment and what have you. Now there's a professional mover who's involved with the entire process. So there is a huge difference. I was there last week. There's momentum. This is Robinson Pike.
Right.
Same thing with the, before you say it, same thing with the lake property. There's a lot of momentum there too. I'll let you tell us the details, but.
Well, the lake property, it's my understanding I'm not sure where it is in the process, but there is an interested party wanting to buy the property.
Right.
In order to do that, there's a whole plan to get it cleaned up. I know that it's frustrating to see these properties linger. I can assure you that it is a priority for me and for Mr. Dunn in Community Development. We are working on these consistently. And like I said, we have 2 hearings coming up in just a few weeks, as well as kind of constant progress on some of the other problems going on.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I can see the progress on the lake property. I try to go down there once or twice a week.
Yeah, we sure appreciate you sharing those progress comments.
But now there's a couple others that were not on. They had issues, and one is on the Skyline down here, and
It's on your
the
list.
contractor
Skyline.
got them cleaned up,
Yep.
to a point, and then never has done any more. So they're look all right, but they're not finished in the same way down here on 113th and 13th and 133rd. They're,
I can,
they had issues. They cleaned them up to a point, and then they haven't finished.
I will.
And now they're on. You know what? I'd like
Check
to
on
see them on the market.
And I wanted to give you an update. We had a whole dangerous building hearing earlier this year where you guys voted to demolish a building. Just to give you an update on that, as you might recall, the property owner came to one of the hearings and indicated that he wanted to demolish the building. He then didn't follow up. We didn't have any contact with him, so the board approved demolishing it. We went and put the project out for bid. And received a call from a company that was interested in bidding on it, saying that they had actually received a call from the property owner, and he had actually put a deposit down on it. So that looks like it might be a situation where we're not going to have to pay to have it demolished, that the contract is underway for the property owner to demolish it, even though he didn't appear to be engaged, and we took the steps to move to demolish it. But that's also, something is happening on it.
That's great news. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the property I thought you were talking about, Joe, the house. But Jamal was talking about the property, Wise's property up the street. But I do know the house, they unhooked, I think, the water and the sewer today or yesterday.
That's right.
Because I got a note from Alan Hanks sent me that. He lives right next door. So that should happen pretty quick, I would think.
Well, if this contractor that the owner hooked up with or hired, they don't deliver on their promise, apparently there's a deposit. We already have the bids.
Exactly. So, thank you very much, Carrie. And
Thanks, Carrie.
Yeah, a lot of good work there, no doubt. Real quick, like on Thursday, we've got the mayor's Christmas tree lighting that's going on, and the kids, the fourth graders over at Con West actually did the Christmas tree ornaments one year, but for this year, we've got the fourth graders over at Butcher Green. So they did it already, and the ornaments are already on the tree. They're a pretty excited bunch. They will be singing as well on Thursday, so it should be a fun time to see how that goes. Pray that the rain doesn't dampen anything, and we'll move on from there. We also have, on Friday, we have Christmas in the Park. If you want to come out and help us at Christmas in the Park, right out there for the youth court, we will be more than willing to accept folks who want to also participate. And it is a good cause because youth court receives $1,000 for their work. So that is going on. Next week, we have a ribbon cutting for the Grandview High School. And they have done a lot of work at the Grandview High School, both at the cafeteria and the band rooms. So that is that's on tap as well. So a lot of good things going on. Jamal, updates?
Hey, my big news tonight is I'm looking at a piece of paper. It says final acceptance of recommendation from HDR. HDR is the company that reviews the CPKC's design project on that bridge, and it's been approved. This is a lot of work on a staff's end. City engineer Athena, as well as our public works director Doug, worked their tail off, many meetings, but finally it got approved. So before you ask what's going to happen next is we're going to get this still bid this year. So that's our goal. As a matter of fact, I had visitors from project managers and engineers from FRA, CPKC, this is Canadian Pacific, and a few of the folks that are on the government side. And not only they spent 2 hours with us in our offices and visit the site, and with my luck, there was a semi crossing, train was on the bridge, and there was a gentleman with a bicycle who was waiting to cross. So the picture speaks for itself, and they all understood the urgency of this. Yeah, we'll have a funding conundrum that we need to deal with because what was estimated 10 years ago versus what we're assigned to do here is different. But I will share as we know more from the FRA as well as the Canadian Pacific, which they're amicable to the idea of upping their contribution. These are not small amounts. These are $5+ million of contributions. So also there's a little bit of traction from the Congressman Cleaver's office to see if we are able to get a few dollars from the federal government on top of what they already allocated for us.
Positive response. We appreciate that very much. It is exactly 7:40. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Mayor, I
Alderman Taylor.
apologize.
Yes.
I apologize. There's
Yes.
something I was supposed to bring up, and it's
Mhm.
just, when you get my
Yep.
age, you forget things. But my cousin, Amari Hughes, her family wants to thank the Grandview Police Department personally. They want to come here and they want to talk to the female detective that worked on that. They said that the Grandview Police Department did an outstanding job, communicated well with her. We sent her home Friday. That's when we had our service for her, and it was excellent. But they really talked well about the Grandview investigators and police department. They want to pass on their thank you, and they told me to pass it on.
Thank you.
Will do. We appreciate the comment, and we're proud of our police department.
They are too now. Extremely proud.
Good. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Mayor,
Alderman Taylor.
so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Hartman.
I second that.
Been moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So we are officially adjourned for a closed session at 7:41.
Oh, sometimes you move.
So yeah, I'm not sure.